My name's Steve Feltham, full-time hunter of the Loch Ness Monster, and you're listening to the Unbelievers podcast.
MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, founded in 1969 as a non-profit organization composed of civilian volunteers who study reported UFO sightings and is one of the oldest and largest organizations of its kind, with more than 4,000 members worldwide and chapters and representatives in more than 43 countries. MUFON has been involved in many famous UFO investigations, but did you know that they produced a documentary miniseries in 2008? Tonight, the Unbelievers podcast returns to some real UFO terror as we discuss the strange events of January 8th, 2007 and the unbelievable story to follow. So grab your fishing sneakers because it is time for Rus Bledsoe and the Fayetteville Incident. Right here in the program, we continue to learn to unlearn everything you know. Hello and welcome to the Unbelievers podcast. I'm Rus Ryan, and joining me as always is Drea Mora. Hello, Drea.
Hello.
And, of course, soundboard engineer and producer, Okey.
You remember nothing?
No.
Hi. What's up, guys?
What is up, Rob and Drea? It is great to be back. And we kind of missed a week because we were out doing Mardi Gras, but we are back and we're excited to see you, Rob. I feel like I haven't seen you in forever.
I know. Did you show your tits at Mardi
now?
Gras, Russ? That's what we all want to know. Did you do it?
I mean, yeah, it might have happened. I don't know. I wasn't. I can't speak for everything that happened there, but yeah. No, since being back though, we did a fun live stream and we got a new bonus episode out. But it has not been the same without you. I'm happy to be back, Drea. You missed Rob, right?
Of course. He's been gone like forever. He's like a ghost.
I am alive. I'm here. And
That's good. In the
I'm
afterlife.
ready to talk about fucking UFOs and stuff. Getting into some UFO talk.
Because last week was kind of, last episode, we were so psyched for UFOs, and it was a bit bullshit. But not tonight, because tonight we will be talking about Rus Bledsoe and the Fayetteville Incident.
Now the radio says, well, you better look out. Here come the little green men. And if they land in your backyard, then you better not let them in. But I just ignored my radio and I stepped out on my lawn. And there was a couple of the little green men. They were swinging it arm in arm.
Yes,
Singing
George Morgan there, little green men. And that must mean that we are once again talking UFOs. And yes, I mentioned UFO terror was a bit bullshit. It was mostly skinwalkers. We're going to make up for that with some actual UFO terror and aliens. I'm very excited for this.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and it's just UFO people too in this one. There's no celebrity guest stars. This isn't this isn't driven by any sort of famous child star or anything like that. So this is just like back to the realness of UFO documentaries. This isn't about any sensationalizing.
Oh, no. This is serious boots on the ground work because the show that we will be discussing is called UFOs Over Earth. And it might as well be called MUFON Gone Wild because this show is all about the Mutual UFO Network investigating cases and they just showing off the full power of this group.
I want to see MUFON Gone Wild. That sounds
I'd watch
great.
that.
Yeah, that soes dope. Actually, I don't know. I've seen what the people look like who go to those MUFON conventions. Maybe I don't want to see them.
No, this is them going wild. Is what we're going mild as far as they can take it.
Mild, please.
Let's hear about this because we're going to hear the intro for the show, which is one of the stranger intros I've ever heard. We've watched a lot of these shows because they say the premise of the show, like most intros would, and then they say it again as if they're already filling time before the show's even started.
UFOs exist. What is not certain is what they are. The Mutual UFO Network, or MUFON, watches the skies, investigating sightings soon after they occur. Their investigators use the tools of science, psychology, and law enforcement to get as close to the truth as the truth will allow. Unidentified flying objects definitely exist. Only their identity remains a mystery.
Okay, yes, I know.
The mystery of UFOs over Earth.
Let her cook, Russ. Let the woman cook.
It's so hard
up for us, man.
We got it. We know. Are UFOs real? Yes, technically, yes. Of course, she says, hold on.
She's building it, man. She's building up suspense. This is a professional we're dealing with here.
Totally. Yeah, I wasn't getting bored.
Unidentified flying objects definitely exist.
Yes, because there are unidentified flying objects. It could be anything. You just don't know what it is.
It's just nice to hear someone say it, finally.
Finally.
Thank you.
Okay, so we know that going in already. They definitely exist. And as this begins, we get to meet the MUFON investigator at the head of this story. And this is a man named Rich Lane, who has some pretty deep thoughts regarding this UFO field.
You know, when they talk about Galileo, he'd have his telescope, and he'd invite people from the scientific community to come and look in the eyepiece. They didn't believe, and they wouldn't look in. And what we're facing with here is this is out there, and some of us are looking in the telescope and trying to figure out what's going on out there.
I'm MUFON's chief investigator for the states of North Carolina and Virginia. I essentially work as a volunteer and volunteer my time.
Oh, is that what a volunteer does?
He sounds mad important. I feel like he's holding up his badge as he's saying that, but I know he's not because I watched the thing. But it feels like the way he says it, he feels very official.
It's a very deep statement. I gotta say, did people really tell Galileo to go kick rocks? Like other scientists, like, I invented this telescope. They were like, no way I'm looking in that thing
I'm not looking in that devil wand. I mean, there were a lot of religious people, you know, who didn't like the idea that they weren't the center of the universe. And shit like that.
They thought they were getting pranked. It was one of those things that gets your eye.
I heard he did get bullied. He got bullied a lot, though, Galileo.
He got
I think it was
pantsed
because
all
of his
the time.
name. I think the other guys, they thought his name was kind of, I don't know.
Galpel.
It's a weird name. That's all I'm going to say. Galileo? How many Galileos do you know?
It's a pretty cool name, I think. I'm surprised there's not more people named that.
But just, it's got to be.
It sounds adventurous. It's like a pirate's name. I look in a pirate's eye scope or whatever.
Galley.
So what he's bringing up here, I think if given the option, what he's saying, if given the option, people would look at UFOs. If you were like, look right there, there's UFOs. Even in a telescope, I think they would do it.
No, they're going to cover their eyes and be like, no,
I'm not looking up there. It's not.
I love this analogy. I love the analogy, but I want to look at a UFO through a telescope. So let's combine these things.
Win-win. Galileo wins. Rich Lane wins. Everyone's happy.
Yes.
So now for the actual story. This is a true night of UFO terror. Because on the night of January 8th, 2007, a man named Chris Bledsoe and his 4 male companions, one of them being his son, had an unexplainable experience that we will hear about from both Rich Lane, the telescope guy, and Chris Bledsoe, the experiencer.
When I interviewed Chris, he described lights in the sky at 3 different locations.
This is the location along the Cape Fear River where 5 guys get together one night to do a little evening fishing. Chris leaves his friends, he walks up to this spot on the road, and this is where he has his first encounter.
And there's these 2 orange balls, huge, and they were motionless, sitting side by side. But what alerted me, a 3rd one came in the blink of an eye.
Chris races back to tell his friends what he's seen. They all look up in the sky. Everybody sees these 3 lights descending rapidly.
We're all looking at the sky when these 3 big white balls that looked like stars converged and landed on the other side of the river. And they were really close.
The guys drop their fishing poles right where they're standing, and they head for the truck.
It is always guys fishing. And when I watched this, I had to double check that we did not talk about this. It is so similar to the Allagash abductions where it's 5 guys out there and they see balls in the sky. There are many other, but this one is known as the Fayetteville Incident of North Carolina. And there are a lot of balls involved.
Even just the name, the Fayetteville Incident, harkens back to other incidents that sound very familiar. Like, wasn't it the Hopkinsville?
Sure.
And that took
There's so
place
many
near, like,
out there.
in like Fayetteville or something. Like, there's all these weird. They all sound the same. Is what I'm trying to say. And it gets a little bit monotonous after a while, and you can't tell. They all do seem like very similar events, also, which is weird. Like, they're all like just guys alone, usually.
Well, that's the thing, Rob. They're not just making up these stories. It's just what tends to happen.
That's what I mean.
Even more alarming, right? Or it's like, dang, it's just all these things are so similar.
It's always remote locations at night. A bunch of guys happen to be fishing. Think about Calvin Barker, too. That was just 2 guys fishing.
Yeah. No, I immediately think of Pascagoula.
Fayetteville. It's all happening in these cities that Rob loves so much.
It's all about when the boys go out. It's like boys' night.
When the boys are out there, somebody's taking out
2 orange balls. Huge.
Yeah. Huge. 3 of them, actually.
They always do that.
Big white balls.
3 big white balls. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I can't,
They all looked at them, too. They got together and looked at them, which...
Well, because if you don't, that means you're scared.
I mean, it's corroborating the story. It's like, now we've all seen these balls. We went on this journey together.
The journey has just started. So here we are. We got 5 guys alone on Cape Fear, looking for a good time, when they were so rudely interrupted by 2 orange balls and then 3 white balls. But this is only the beginning for Chris Bledsoe, the main character of this, because before we get more of the story, Rich Lane and those other MUFON guys, they feel the need to assure us that Chris Bledsoe, this guy is an upstanding member of Fayetteville society.
Chris appears to be a pretty respected member of the community. He's a commercial pilot. He was a very successful builder, had a good business. He's got a great family, raised 4 children, and for all intents and purposes, seems to be a pretty stand-up guy.
It looked like a star from a million miles away, and then it just, boom, didn't stop, but it looked like a cushion of something caught it, and then they come down about this speed, just gently.
I have to say that Chris Sr. just came across so well. And his demeanor and his body language and just his very simple talk. And he was obviously a very intelligent man, but at the same time a very simple man. And I just got the sense that there was an element of truth here.
A good man, yes. Simple man, yes. They're pointing out how simple this guy is. I would almost be insulted if they were like...
He was obviously a very intelligent man, but at the same time a very simple man.
That's all right, I know.
Yeah, what the fuck
Like, what do you mean, but at the same time? Yeah.
What the hell?
Like, he's smart, but he's kind of dumb, too.
Yeah, how are you just going to come out and call someone simple? Like, you're really going to call him a simple... He's going to watch this.
Oh, and he has. And I was saying, these guys from MUFON, they seem much more boring and simple than Chris, because I've watched all of this, and I don't know, at least he has friends, and he goes fishing. These fucking MUFON guys.
Friends. They just take him fishing because he, probably has all the best... He has all the rods, and so they invite him because they don't want to get their own fishing rods.
Have you ever gone fishing alone? It can be sad.
It seems really peaceful because so when Jack and I go fishing, we'll hang out at the same spot, but then at some point we both go for different spots, and so and then we'll meet up in 20, 30 minutes or so and be like, usually it's me telling him that I caught something, but I don't know how to take them off the hook very well because I feel like I'm hurting them and I freak out.
These guys are probably doing that too. They're probably spreading out.
Abducted. Y'all are going to get abducted. Sounds like you're going to get abducted.
I hope.
I mean, you put on a fake mustache or something. It's always guys. There's always guys fishing.
I'll take my balls out. How about that?
You are UFO repellent at that point. And these guys are, I don't know, friend repellent, the MUFON guys. Because their uniforms, they look like the biggest dorks ever. They look like security guards in dad jeans. And this is from 2008, and it was not a good look.
Did you see one of their shirts? I can't remember which of the guys has this shirt that on the back, because he was the only one not wearing a polo version, but just a T-shirt. And on the back it said, doing the Air Force's job since 19-something.
Yes.
I can't remember.
I love it. They got an attitude.
Yeah, I was like, you guys, I know you're all volunteers and everything, but so cool it.
Yeah, they always have cool little catchphrases on the backs of their, and on their shirts. They just have great merch too. They're like, "Do you know the MUFON man?" It's like, yeah, I know the MUFON.
The MUFON man. That's hilarious. I actually like that. I've got
they
some
don't
MUFON
have the,
stuff.
Do you know the MUFON
No,
man?
I made that up. I made that up, but they probably do have that. They probably
should.
Someone, I'm sure.
I have some MUFON merch. I've got a pen and a T-shirt. I got sent a bunch of stuff. I think it was Chris De Moraes, I believe.
He's our official MUFON guy for sure. Hey, look, we're not calling you a dork. I'm calling these guys dorks because
these particular guys.
This was filmed in 2008. It could have been 1987. That's what it looked like with these guys. But so now that Chris Bledsoe, he's had this incredible buff from MUFON. So let's return to the night of January 8th, 2007, and this continually unfolding UFO event.
And was that the end of it?
It was the end until I got home, and then it started again at the house.
What happened at the house?
That's when my dogs went nuts, and I ran out to see what was bothering them. My Chesapeake took off in the woods. I ran around to cut them off, whatever it was, and that's when this entity is standing 3 or 5 feet away from me. It went on a long time. I mean, it was a hectic night. It was totally something I'll never forget. It haunts me.
Aliens. So the fishing and the balls, whatever, who cares? This guy ran in the woods and saw an entity.
Yeah.
Look, this is 2007. And remember, he has a very simple.
Sure. What does simplicity have to do with seeing an entity? I don't get it.
And I need some specifics on this entity. Because that could mean so many things. Like, paint a picture for me here. Very slow-talking man.
Oh, he will.
Who has apparently seen some shit.
Very slow-talking man.
He's just such, oh my God, this energy level. Like, someone give this man a coffee. Just shake him. Someone just pour water on him. Do something to just
get him off,
liven him up.
Okay.
I know he's been through some shit, but like, for real, dude, get it. Come on.
So look, you're gonna hear the description of this entity, I promise. But I gotta say, props to Chris for being brave and saying this, but also F you, Chris, for bringing your dogs along on his TV filming because they
Chesapeake.
They don't shut up here. Yes, this is Chesapeake. So
he has to mention that.
Chris gives us some details about this entity.
I wasn't even thinking an entity or nothing like that. I'm thinking some sort of animal. All these dogs are facing this way. The Chesapeake's facing this way. And her hair is standing up from the back of her head to her rear end.
Who, the entity?
She was just standing there. Right on that little rise, but if I reached my hand out and leaned over, I could touch it. And he was no higher than, say, this high up on your arm. It didn't move. It didn't blink. It had red eyes, but it was glowing. I mean, look at the chill bumps. See that? You can't fake that, guys.
As far as looking at it, it was just stoic. It was glowing,
there.
but there was no nose twitching, no muscle movement, just like a statue would be looking at.
It looked like if you dipped a person in glass and it molded to their body, you could see through the glass inside. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, the glass man. This is a great encounter. This is a weird-ass alien. It's like a black glass alien with glowing eyes.
It was disgusting.
I mean, it sounds kind of cool and pretty in my eyes. I was just describing it like it's made of glass. And so, I mean, think about like disco ball kind of, if it's refracting light and everything, that's kind of cool.
It made me think of the xenomorph, like in Aliens, like when it's like that, such a dark, glossy black look to it. Like, is he thinking glossy or glass? But I know definitely.
I mean, look at the chill bumps. See that? You can't fake that, guys.
Can't fake chill bones, Rob.
Yeah,
Try
bumps. The chill bones are one thing. Chill bumps are another. This man over here,
goose chills.
He's getting himself bumped up just talking about this. This is some scary shit. Just thinking about
he
this
does
entity.
need to get bumped up, Rob. That's what he needs. He needs a fucking bump of cocaine to wake
we all
himself
do.
up.
We all could use one. I think he could really use one.
This actually is a very emotional dude. We find out later about that. But
he's a broken man. Yeah, this dude's a broken man.
So now we got to hear how the rest of this encounter played out with this man what made of glass.
For a second, I was frightened, and I stood here and I said, okay. I'm a big guy. If you want me, you got me. You got me cornered. I have nowhere to go.
This was an important part of this investigation for us because I think most people are going to look at what his reaction was and they're going to believe him.
Were you moving around?
I wasn't moving a bit. I was frozen, and I was looking at it, and it was looking at me, and I was thinking real fast, if it's going to get me, it's going to get me. And I just kind of calmed down and relaxed, and I felt at peace at that moment.
Where's the dog at this point?
It was coming straight to it. Came right through here. When it got to right in there, the whole thing disappeared.
Oh, it sounded really scary until the end where it's like, what happened? Like, it just disappeared.
Fucking thing went over there and it disappeared. Like,
well, it just left.
Bear dogs and hog dogs.
The hog dog saved his ass again. I think the dog is why that thing's gone because he sounds like he kind of gave up, but he's just submitting. He's like,
I'm a big guy. If you want me, you got me.
Yeah, why did he say I'm a big guy, so therefore you have me? Like, what?
For you. I don't know what he wanted to say.
I think he meant like, I'm a big guy, like, I'm not going to be able to get away. I think that's what he meant.
Yeah, I guess so.
It was confusing.
I don't know. That's how I interpreted it.
You guys seem blown away. You guys seem almost as blown away as the MUFON guys because they were really blown away. And the fact that he was only a few feet away from the entity, his description, it's like this.
He could have reached out and touched.
He could have reached out and touched it 4 feet in front of him.
We all know how that goes once you start reaching out and touching things.
And what I wound up doing is that I wound up touching all the babies.
Different.
And nobody wants that.
You don't want to go around doing that.
But it's similar but different, you know?
Yeah, touching is involved.
Yeah, but what's weird to these dudes is his description, because if this guy was faking it, it would just be so easy to just describe a very typical gray. So the fact that it's just kind of real out of the box glass made of thing, the MUFON guys, they are sold. Well, almost. Now remember, the initial sighting with the balls, there were those other 4 guys fishing with Chris that night. Like,
yeah.
What's their story? This is all just about Chris. But MUFON, they must know. And the first fellow witness they tracked down is Chris Bledsoe's teenage son, Chris Jr., who had this to say about he and his father's night of UFO terror. And here he is recounting the balls.
So all I could see was these 2 bright red orbs side by side.
Where were they when you first saw them?
Down the path there, coming down the road. And then next thing you know, I didn't see any more orbs. I just saw these little creatures come walking out the woods.
We interviewed Chris Jr. to see if he could corroborate any of his father's story. But it turns out he wasn't at the riverbank. He was actually up the riverbank having his own encounter.
Try to describe them.
Creature feature.
It was really dark. They just looked like little creatures, little skinny. And I could see their body, but not like what they were wearing.
Junior was a little bit different. If there could be one word I could use to describe Chris Jr., that would be this overwhelming sense of angst.
Whoa, an angsty teenager? I don't know why they feel like I had to say that. It's like, is he like a problem child or something? Because he seemed cool in this, but he's an overwhelming sense of angst.
It didn't seem very angsty to me.
Yeah, he seemed like he was just like his dad. Very similar to his dad. Similar vibes, kind of just like chill and like
pretty low scared. Energy, like all right.
Yeah, low energy guy, but like
he gave the MUFON guys a little bit of tood, and they're like, "This is the angstiest kid ever. He's so cool. He's so cool." They felt like such dorks around an actual teenager who was like, I probably was cool. They're like, "Oh, this guy's pretty angsty. He fucking made fun of me."
He let them hang in like after a fist bump. And he's like, "No, I'm not going to do that."
Well, he describes creatures also, which is I think an interesting way to describe aliens is by calling them creatures. That's a little bit derogatory, but
how is that derogatory? It was created. That's what a creature is. We're all creatures.
I don't know. I don't think they.
He thinks they're creatures. They could be aliens, like his dad seeing. He's seeing little humanoids running around. But he's like he said, he doesn't really see them that well.
But he saw something.
He saw something run around. But these MUFON guys, they have some theories about Chris Jr. claims.
He seemed to be having some troubles, a lot of internal battles.
Was the moon up? Was there?
Yeah, there was a moon, plenty of stars.
We weren't sure whether this really happened to him or he was making some of this up to try to corroborate his dad's story. So we think it's really important for us to bring in these other 3 witnesses who were there and find out what they saw.
And they want to move on from Chris Jr. as quickly as possible. They're like, all right, we think the kid's full of shit, but we don't want to make him feel bad. He's already overwhelmingly angsty. Let's just find the other guys. It's like, was there like a moon? He's like, yeah, duh, there's a moon, of course. There's like stars.
I'm so like these sort of like hoaxer situations where like it's a possible hoaxer. You know, they're kind of like maybe accusing the son of maybe like just creating this backup story to kind of corroborate with his dad's story. It just makes me wonder, like, first off, why would you come up with this sort of story as a hoax? Like, the guy doesn't seem like he's really, like, getting anything out of this, like, emotionally, or, like, it's not like, he's just, like, doesn't even really seem like he wants to do this and not putting a ton out there.
All he's
and
getting out of it
also,
is goose chills.
they don't seem like they're hungry to get on TV. Like, they don't seem like those sort of people to me.
No, I don't think it started like that. I think what happened was after the incident happened that Chris Bledsoe reached out and sent them an email, and it's almost like a one thing led to another, and next thing he knew, the MUFON investigator he's working with is starting doing this quote-unquote, documentary. It was a short film series, but I guess you call it a documentary. And so they're kind of done with Chris Jr., and they got to track down the other 3 witnesses from that night. And They had mentioned that finding these men was difficult, which I found surprising because they all look like they have never left the greater Fayetteville area ever. But whatever. In this next clip, we're going to hear from these mysterious guys.
You could see what looked like bright stars, that were scattered across the tree line. And you could just see them descending slowly.
And it just like dropping, like I said, it looked like a piece of hot steel or something,
They were orangish, and then you could see separate other colors.
It was orange and maybe yellow.
I remember being one on the left, right, one in the middle, and one toward the left.
From that tree to this tree, they were right there. You could see them just perfect right there.
That's when it freaked me out. And I said, hey guys, look, y'all see them? Y'all see these?
I got so paranoid I opened my pocket knife.
And that's when the panic set in, There wasn't nothing normal about it.
What if someone was to say, look, all you guys saw was some flares?
I'd call them a lie.
Have you seen flares before?
Yeah.
Any way they could have been flares, just military flares?
Nah.
Have you seen flares?
We stood there for 5 or 10 minutes looking at them.
Right.
Ain't no flare gonna stand up there that long.
Right.
I know flares, God damn it. So apologies, but that was Gene Robinson, who I has noted as dirty guy, a man named Danny Ackerman, who is a witness who looks a lot like Danny McBride, a man named David McDonald, another witness. It is impossible to tell them apart in this audio format, but trust me, that was 3 different guys.
I heard 2 different guys.
There's definitely 3
Yeah,
there.
I had to rewatch that section a few times just to get everyone's story straight and who was who.
That whole thing is just a supercut of all these southern men, very southern men.
Oh, he had a great line.
They're all holding their hands up like they're describing how big a fish is that they're caught, and just every single one of them just doing this with their hands, going, it was like this, it looked like that. There was a ball here.
Yeah, but they got startled.
It's so long.
Dude, this one guy said this. I love it.
I got so paranoid I opened my pocket knife.
Yeah, he opened his pocket knife. That UFO, I'm going to come to stab that thing.
He's going to stab the UFO?
Yes.
That's so sick.
He was ready.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, try to fuck with this dude if you're like one of those little creatures, those little entities comes down.
Don't bring a knife to a UFO
dude
fight.
Fucking pulls out his butterfly knife. He's going to fucking fillet you.
Yeah, you can... Just judging from this, you can tell why they focus on Chris Bledsoe. He is somehow the best spoken of this group and the least angsty. But my favorite of the 3 is this guy, Gene Robinson, the dirty guy. He's definitely one of the dirtiest people I've seen actually been put on television. But beyond the filth, I do like how he said the pocket knife thing. And he's just one of my favorite new ones. So.
I got so paranoid I opened my pocket knife.
He got so paranoid. I love that he's not scared. This man, he's a man. He doesn't get scared. He was paranoid.
This sounds like it must happen a lot to him.
He opened his pocket knife, too. He opened that fucking thing.
Well, you know what happens when he opens it. You've got to use it at that point, right?
Oh, you're getting fucking stabbed.
Something's getting stabbed before it's over.
This does not usually work out good for the guys at the bar when this thing comes out. So this UFO is not going to be happy when it sees this dude.
Nope. I think that's why that thing probably disappeared. But so MUFON comes to the conclusion that these 3 guys' story, they all line up. You heard them. They're all saying the same thing. There are not a lot of discrepancies, which they prove here by playing them all talking about what this sighting sounded like.
There wasn't no sound. I mean, it was dead still that night.
No sound whatsoever.
Did you hear any other noise? Normal noises, birds,
nothing.
Animals?
It was quiet. It was quiet. It was just, you could have heard a rat piss on a piece of cotton. That's how quiet it was.
Okay, again, that was the MDP, the most dirty player, Gene Robinson, with a colloquialism I have never heard before. I'm surprised that made it to the show. You can't say that, can you?
Why can't you say piss?
You could have heard a rat piss on a piece of cotton. That's how quiet it was.
A rat piss, though? Rat piss? You can say rat piss? All right.
Oh, does that make it a slur or something?
I've just never heard that before.
Look, I'm not for speech censorship at all. So, yeah, of course they're
not censoring it. It's just an image I never wanted to have.
I've never heard that.
Never.
Would this be a colloquialism?
Yes.
Colloquialism? I don't even know how to say that word.
Unless he made it up, like just then.
If he did, he is oh my God. He's an OG.
I've had similar colloquialisms Where it's like, yeah, it's so quiet you could hear a something piss on something. But I've never heard that combination of a rat pissing on a piece of cotton.
This is quieter than a rat pissing on
a rat's notoriously quiet pissers or something? Like, what is the... we know, I know cotton's soft. Could it be anything pissing on cotton? We'll never know.
Sure, like a cricket.
You could have heard a rat piss on a piece of cotton. That's how quiet it was.
I don't imagine rats being very loud at peeing, so I think he's accurate. I believe...
You know what? I'm surprised how loud cats pee. Like, holy crap. Like, I mean, yeah, there was this one time, like, I just, like, hear the sound. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And it's Bink, like, pissing his fucking brains out in the litter box.
Like, mad hard. Like a little fucking fire hose coming out of that little...
Get some cotton
you, like, literally
or something.
hear the stream. I need some cotton in that litter box.
I think the cotton is the key to solving
you should get a rat
issue.
Honestly, is what you should do.
Oh, I know, because the pissing sound just wakes me up so much. I need it to be quieter.
This guy not only derailing this show, he derailed me watching this. I was so distracted when he said that. But let's get back to it. So MUFON, they're crack investigators. They aren't messing around. And throughout their thorough drilling of Chris Bledsoe Sr., they come to the conclusion that there are some gaps in his story about the night being out there with the alien, as far as timeline goes, which can only mean one thing. When he saw that man that was made of glass, he experienced missing time.
Donnie went up the hill to get Chris so he didn't have to walk back or whatever. Went around there, hey, where you at?
All of them said they drove up. And I know they left because they said they did and the truck was moved.
At some point, those guys said that they came up the road and went up there, turned around, and went back. You're standing here the whole time.
Yes, sir.
How could they get past you without you seeing them and them not seeing you?
There's no way.
Did anybody tell you how much time had passed?
3 or 4 hours.
They thought you were gone for 3 or 4 hours.
Yes, sir.
In a case like this where there's time missing, he tells me he can't remember. He tries to remember, he thinks about it, he gets these severe smashing headaches, and he can't remember what happened up there.
So at the time, you didn't think it was strange that when you got here, it was just getting dark, and when you got back, it was very dark. That didn't strike you as strange or odd?
I have a missing spot in my brain, and I've told Richard this time and again. I have a wall. I want to know what happened there. I'm lost for time at that point.
He has a missing spot in his brain?
It's like a donut.
Poor guy.
I have a missing spot in my brain.
This is such a leading conversation, like leading up to this. It's yeah, I do like the missing spot of his brain. That's great. But they're like, well, didn't you think it was kind of weird? It was kind of dark. And it was like, well, like super dark later though. Like when you, after time passed for a little bit and you were, I don't know, fucking off in the woods.
No, I didn't notice that.
Not really. Yeah.
Not really at all. No, it's like usually it goes from kind of dark to dark.
Pitch black.
Like afterwards, it's kind of expected, honestly.
Anytime someone brings something like this up to me, I just say,
I have a missing spot in my brain.
I'll just say that anytime. I don't want to remember anything.
Man, I don't know. I don't think he does. I'm pretty sure he means his memory. That's what he's talking about. He's got missing memory. There's a time
it's a physical
that he can't
spot
remember.
where you keep
it's
things.
Like it's a tumor
gone.
in his brain. That's
missing a spot in his brain.
That alien took a little piece.
I don't know, man.
We don't know.
It sounds like
yeah.
maybe he does have missing time. Like possibly. Maybe he got abducted by Glass Man.
Like, look,
that's what he's saying.
We're MUFON. We do like 4 things. We look in the sky. We also, we do what we're going to do now because, of course, missing time, it just leads to the most trusted and accurate method of memory retrieval that MUFON loves, hypnotic regression. This is when the...
Hey, hold it. You just... Hold it right there.
Sorry. I had
it's fine.
Fire in the sky ready to go.
Because this is when the Leo sprinkles of the world, they come out to shine. And in the case of Chris Bledsoe, the hypnotic regression is administered by Dr. Michael O'Connell, who is a psychologist and a big boy. And here is a part of this session.
Where are we going? I tried to hide. I couldn't. They're looking at me. There's 4 of them. They're so tall, skinny.
How tall are they?
Real tall. 7 foot or better. They're not human.
Okay, Michael, go ahead. Push it to the limit.
Are they telling you why you were chosen?
Uh-huh.
What reason was that?
They're my guardians.
Looking after you?
Uh-huh.
Your well-being?
Uh-huh. Every time I get sad, they're here. I know I've been sad. Is that why you come?
Are they the same ones that you saw in your backyard later?
That's their children.
Their children?
Uh-huh. They let them out to play.
In your backyard?
This is just your routine, everyday stuff here, right?
Oh, man. Yeah, Rich Hall is loving this. So as you can see now, he says he's being abducted by 7-foot-tall, real tall aliens, and they're his guardians, and the little aliens are the kids in the backyard, and they play in his backyard, and hey, maybe that's what his son saw, one of the aliens' kids running around his yards.
That makes sense.
The way they set that up, it felt like one of those jokes. They're like, your alien's so tall. You know how tall your alien is?
How tall is he?
Your alien's so tall.
He's the first one to know it's raining.
It hit her head on the moon or some shit like that.
First one to know it's raining. That's good.
That's what it sounded like. It felt like one of those setups, but I know it wasn't.
Look, I gotta say, I would hate to have a regression filmed like this. Like, I know
embarrassing,
right?
Because instead he's like, well, they come to me when I'm sad, and I'm getting sad now doing this.
I can't hide. Oh.
It's like you become like a kid again. Yeah, it's embarrassing. I would hate to ever have to. Like, I'd just be like, trust me.
Way too vulnerable. Yeah, like,
they're looking at
shit
me.
Recorded.
But then put it on TV. Like,
they're all gonna laugh at you.
They're looking at me.
Especially if people don't believe in hypnosis and they go, this guy's just acting like a baby. Like, because this guy,
I mean, they're looking at him. They're scary, dude. Little guys looking at you, and you're fucking over there frozen. You can't do anything.
Yeah, the MUFON guy, though. The MUFON guy,
looking at me.
He loves it. He is watching. You heard him. He's like, come on, push it to the limit. Like, tell him the doctor. I don't think you're supposed to do that in hypnosis. You're not supposed to go to the doctor. All right, really push it now. Go.
We can't push it any further. He's already at the max limit. Push it.
Oh, those are the children. Those are just the children.
And you hear him at the end. He's like,
happened?
This is just your everyday stuff, because he's just so blown away by this. This guy, Rich Lane, he is very excited towards the end of the hypnosis session. And he lets Chris know how happy he is with the results.
Have they been inside your home?
Yeah. We've definitely gone through the looking glass today, guys. I've seen the tapes before, but this is one of the best ones I've ever seen.
All the way up, you can feel it in your butt and your back.
What?
So what do you think?
Oh.
Was I abducted?
A lot of similarities. Unfortunately, you're not unique in this world.
Everything we were trying to figure out, you pretty much told us. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you did real good.
Wow.
You did good.
You're a good boy.
I'll show it to you.
What we're watching here with Chris is very consistent with the typical abduction scenario.
And wow, he just can't wait to show it to him. You heard it there. This is one of the creepiest parts I've ever seen, because this guy, Rich Hall, who looks a lot like Kenny Rogers with just a mustache, is like right up on him, put his arm on him. He's like, wait.
Yeah, he did say he told me said butt.
I'll show it to you.
Oh, and of course, yes, I'm not going to ignore.
All the way up, you can feel it in your butt.
Wow.
I mean, look, I had the captions on when I was watching this, and they wrote it in the captions.
I bet you the captions are probably great looking. They're probably hilarious.
Oh yeah, it's all about rat piss
really wish
and
I'd have
butts
gotten a
and
picture
stuff.
of it.
Why did he say that? Why did he say it like that?
All the way up, you can feel it in your butt.
Definitely a Freudian
It's part of
slip.
hypnosis. This is how you hypnotize people. It involves the butt.
Doing there.
You hypnotize them into slipping things in their butt.
Is it about the probe? I think that's what he's talking about. He's like, do you feel it in your butt? The probe? Do you feel?
He's like, oh, I mean, your back. You had back problems, right?
He's like, what probe? And he's like,
You did good. I'll show it to you.
He's like, you like that? You're a good boy. You know that?
All right.
Who's getting a milk bone after dinner?
So I know, Drea, you've got more from after hypnosis session. Please guide me through this.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a good thing that he's so pleased about all this, because second half of the show, it gets a little, bleak, I guess. In the second half of the show, we get to hear from the Mrs. Bledsoe, the Mrs., her name's Yvonne, and about how all of this has affected her, because I think it behooves the whole audience to kind of get an extra glimpse into the people in his life, to kind of get a sense of, who he is in relation to how people view all of this going on. So
it behooves the audience?
It behooves the audience, yeah.
That behooves me.
God, behoove. Yeah,
I feel behooved as fuck right now. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I like it. Okay.
So yeah, let's hear what she has to say about this. It's not all about you, Chris.
It changed everybody in our house. For the first time in our life, we were not open. We avoided the dinner table together. I've been ashamed to share anything with anybody, and I have neglected some family members, avoided them intentionally. It's been emotional, it's been stressful, it's been horrifying.
In fact, can I tell you this? Our marriage and our family was on the verge of splitting up over this thing.
So it's been tough, but it's not a train wreck yet.
The dramatic changes in their behavior and the stressors that it caused in their family life is a major confirmation that something went on.
Yeah, I think, because I mean, why would they lie about something like that, right?
Yvonne seems so genuine in this, and you could tell like that they are being very sincere. Like something did and is happening to this guy, and I don't know how well it's conveyed through something like hypnotic regression or through the other guys he's fishing with, but you can tell within him and the family and the people closest to this that there is something to this.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just being selfish to not just, bury the trauma deep down inside like everybody does. I mean, look at the consequences. They avoided the dinner table together.
We avoided the dinner table together.
That's sad.
So
But they did it together, and they just avoided the dinner
They
table.
all looked at it
but as
at
a
once
pair.
with their plate, and they each went to
They're
their
like,
room. Said,
It
"Nope."
does feel like, is this just like all beating around the bush saying that their sex life is like really fucked up? Is that like what the dinner table
That's what
thing
dinner
is? Is it like an
table
analogy for something else? I feel like it is a little bit like if like their whole relationship is in shambles because of this, and I think it's obvious that would also be affected.
Yeah,
Like, everything would be.
of course. I
it
mean,
would all be
that's something that affects relationships out like without UFO and creatures features and everything.
I just felt like the dinner table thing was an analogy.
Yeah. She's like, the silverware is not as shiny as it used to be.
They could be helped with a little.
All the way up, you can feel it in your butt.
Maybe that's what they needed.
Right.
Oh, that guy needs to relax.
He does.
He is out of control.
He keeps on leaning in closer to him as he's like, I'll show it to you.
Way too close. Way too close. Way too happy.
I'll show it to you.
The nervous laughing of the other guy who just got hypnotized and just spilled his guts.
Is he still kind of half hypnotized? Let me get in there real close. You're my best friend. Are you still hypnotized? You have to do what I say.
You got a real pretty mouth.
Like, bro, what is going on in that room? So, like,
Let's move on. Move on hard at work.
MUFON's in the room.
What? Oh, God.
Well, in all honesty, though, like he has been through a lot, and we do learn that he actually has kept a lot of stress to himself in the past. And we hear about that in an interview with a psychiatrist that the MUFON guys set up in order to get like an appraisal of his mental health to kind of see how with it or not with it he is. Like what you'd think they could have started off with, but
yeah, right.
We'll get a glimpse, I guess, at his credibility, I guess, in this interview.
So, has there ever been a period of time when you felt deeply depressed?
2001, during election times, I lost $2 million cash dollars.
Whoa!
Because I had 27 houses that sat on the market a year and a half.
Oof.
It caused a lot of depression, but I never told my family the stress that I was under, because I was sheltered then.
And you always have a sense of who you are?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
So you
yeah.
don't lose
No.
touch with that. There's nothing to indicate that in my conversation today with Chris that he's experiencing any break with reality. And it certainly was not indicated in the skid interview that Chris Sr. is psychotic.
Whoa! So yeah, that was psychiatric social worker Debbie Gioia, and that was a bombshell when he's like, yeah, 2001 election year. This was this dude's 9/11. This guy had his own 9/11 in 2001. He had 25 homes and lost $2 million.
I wouldn't compare losing money to losing lives. I would say it's more like his 2008 before 2008 happened, when people like lost their entire pension and everything.
So he's like a real estate guy? Is that like
yeah,
what it is?
he is a successful, like formerly successful, I guess, real estate
At
guy.
times successful.
He held on a little too long. He held on a little too long to a little too much and lost his ass bad.
You can't put all your eggs in one basket, Chris Bledsoe.
Didn't tell anyone about it, kind of kept it in, and it does. And then she mentioned, well, no, I don't think he's having a psychotic break from having this like crippling debt happen to him in such a like short period of time. But
yeah, it's like, let's sell like one house. Let's do that. Let's not try to sell 27.
27's a lot, guys.
Let's try to sell like 2 or maybe 3. And like, let's start there.
A couple at a time, like chill. You gotta chill. But yeah, I mean, as far as what she had to say, he sounds pretty credible to the professionals, like maybe a little bit out there, but I didn't think about this until later, like much later on. What about this? So we're like over here talking about why would people make this up? What motive could there possibly be for any of this? Money trouble, maybe?
I mean, a lot of people. Well, I mean, it's been a path for a certain people, yes. But it doesn't. It seems like other paths are easier.
There's no money in UFOs, though.
There might be eventually. Look at.
It's tough though. It's really hard.
Yeah, there's not really a lot of examples.
Even for like the like really established UFOologists, it's hard for them to like make careers out of talking about UFOs.
True, but there's that circuit where you're like, think of your David Wilcoxes, think of your Travis Walton. There are people out there, experiencers, Stephen Greer's, who cultivated it into a little more.
There's a handful of guys out there.
It takes a personality, though. It's not the guy, who's...
It takes like a whole thing for you to stand out.
Spot in my brain.
All right, well, what if he wanted to, like, put his story out there to, like, up the sympathy, and then he and or his wife, Yvonne, put up, like, a GoFundMe or some shit, and people are like, oh, yeah, those were the very genuine poor people who lost 27 homes, 200 million cash dollars.
Yeah,
the worst kind of dollars to lose.
That would reek of bullshit,
Yeah, I mean, people fall for that shit.
Yeah, I know.
It's hard to gauge from this, though, because MUFON wants to be taken seriously. Like, they do want to, I'm assuming they want to seem serious, but they also seem very leading in wanting to go down a certain path and almost like bending a story. Like, boy, you were really out that late, though. I mean, that's kind of late, guy. Like, you sure you're not missing a little bit of time?
He was missing time because he was like, I don't know what to think about him at this point. Like, at this point while I was watching it, I was just like, I want to believe him. I really, really do.
And they're doing NASA's job since 1963.
Yeah, the Air Forces, but yeah.
Drea, I like that you mentioned that they did the psychological test after they've already done other tests. They've gone through a few steps already. They do everything backwards in this.
Yeah, because next they do a polygraph.
Yes, next up is they do a polygraph last. It's like, well, we might as well save the one that people might either just stay on board or jump off. Let's just save that for last. And yeah, let's hear about that.
As far as polygraph is concerned, you're either telling the truth or you're not telling the truth.
A lie is a lie is a lie, I suppose.
That's it.
Polygraph is really only as good as the operator's interpretation. We were lucky to get Bob Durdak. He's retired from the FBI.
Rob Durdak?
He was in charge of the North Carolina Bureau's polygraph unit, and he's very respected in his field.
I tell them it's a pure of heart test. If you feel good in your heart, you're being honest, you're going to do fine. If you don't, your body shows it, and you don't do so good.
Burn in hell.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I like the way he describes it, though. It's a pure of heart test. Like, you don't... In a way, they're kind of giving away a little bit of, like, there's some people who are, I'm not saying he is, but there's some people who are like psychopaths or sociopaths where they know how to regulate and they can lie very well because there's no consequence to them. They don't care, and so they can evade those things.
Don't you, like, put a tack in your shoe or something? Isn't that how you trick it? Like, every time you answer a question, you put a tack in your shoe?
I just watched, there was like Ocean's 11, 12, and 13 on TV, and I just saw that scene.
I heard
Rusty Ryan's in that, of course. It's a great movie.
A lie is a lie is a lie, I suppose.
That's it.
I heard that you, like, tighten your sphincter when, like, during the test or
but
something.
But I mean, I
like
do that constantly. So.
All the way up, you can feel it in your butt.
Is that how you do it?
That's what I mean, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, somehow it's connected. I don't know how. I don't know.
No, they're very connected. Your heart is connected to your butt, like, not directly, but for sure.
That would be a great song.
Your heart's connected to your butt.
Or
yeah, I
just
agree.
Like, I don't know. It sounds like I don't know. It's nice. There's something about that.
But yeah, Rob Dyrdek from Ridiculousness.
Bob
great
Dyrdek.
at reading.
This is Rob Dyrdek's dad, Bob Dyrdek. Yes.
This is Bob Dyrdek. Yeah.
Lie detector master.
Not to be confused.
So yeah, I mean, he's like the kind of polygraph master at this, right? He was like the head of the polygraph fucking department in North Carolina and the FBI and all of that. What do you guys think is going to be the results? I'm kind of putting that out more to the audience because we know we've all watched it, but
I didn't watch the end. I purposely didn't watch the end.
Oh,
really?
I'm so glad you didn't. That's great.
Cool.
Well, you
Okay,
believe? I mean, he's gotten so far. Everything's going great. So, what do you think, Rob?
I don't know. I'm judging it merely on this man's personality and like what he's been, the way that he's told the story. I think, basically, you're asking me, is he good of heart or is he pure of heart? However the fuck that guy phrased it.
I'm a big guy. If you want me, you got me.
I know you are. I believe you are.
I know you've got a hole missing in your brain.
I know you got. Yeah, you got a little
missing spot in my brain.
I know you do. I know, but I still like you, and you're still my friend, and I don't judge you because of it. I think that he is not going to lie.
The truth.
He's the truth teller.
Okay. He's a truther. Let's hear.
If you just took the numerical score, he would have been inconclusive on that. The one he had deceptive response to was the entity, seeing the entity. You know, he kept saying, I'm not sure myself when I think about it if I really saw it or not, but I know I did.
What?
He didn't come right out and tell us everything was a lie, but basically the part about the entity reflected negatively in the polygraph.
I ended up doing 2 series.
So even though I may feel disappointed, in the back of my mind, I'm saying reserve judgment. Reserve judgment. So you have to weigh all that evidence, and it really comes down to who do you believe?
Oh.
Wow. So.
A lie is a lie is a lie, I suppose.
That's it.
Wow.
But you need to, it's funny though, Rob, that you said specifically, like, I'm not going to, I don't judge you for it, blah, 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 because they want to reserve judgment too.
Oh, yeah, they're judging. They're judges.
Cover up the goddamn liar.
That was a weird double clip we just pulled off there. Yeah.
But they are kind of instantly, I don't know, that it was a little upsetting to find out that he might be lying about seeing the entity.
He like waffled at some points. They didn't outright say, like he said, they didn't say like, oh, it was a definite no. It's just like that's where it went. I mean, for the official FBI guy to say inconclusive, that means there's still a glimmer of hope, right? We need a reserved judgment.
I don't like, though, the way that he said, like, now come to think of it, I don't know if I actually saw the entity. Like, I don't like that.
Like, I'm not sure, but I know I did.
Lying.
Yeah, the way he keeps waffling back and forth, right?
Well, he's already been coaxed a lot at this point anyway, and the fact that maybe this is why they did that last. But
I'm saying reserve judgment. Reserve judgment.
I'm trying to, man. I know you're a good guy. You have a hole in your brain, and I'm reserve judgment. I know.
Yeah.
I'm here with you, dude.
And I think you're being as understanding as any one of us would all be, as any of these MUFON guys are. And, well, I mean, it's a delicate topic to broach, right? To talk to him about it. But I guess here's how they go about handling it.
If you just took the numerical score, he would have...
I think we're all a little disappointed. Honestly, the relationship I've developed with Chris, I really felt like I owed it to him to sit down and talk to him about it. It was an uncomfortable time because I was basically going to hit him right between the eyes with it and see what he says. The question about the entity is where the concern came in.
Okay.
And basically the result on as far as the entity was concerned was negative. Okay. Now I'm trying to help you figure this all out.
I know my mind. Remember me telling you there's like 2 parts of me? There's an inner part that says this was there. And there's an outer part that says, maybe, maybe not. But I know what I saw. It never leaves my mind. And it was there. I'd stake my life on it. Well, I know what I saw. There is no doubt in my mind what I saw. Whatever this machine says, I don't know. And don't care. But I know what I saw.
Okay, Bill Clinton.
All right, hell yeah, Chris Bledsoe. I like that. But Rich, this was like a sad part. This is, of course, the rich guy is the same guy.
You did good. I'll show it to you.
The Rich Hall guy. Yeah, this is the same guy. He's become Chris Bledsoe's buddy in this. He was the original investigator. I think he's the one who who started all this with him, and he's the one who has to break the news there at the end. So sad. Like,
yeah. I mean, I'm frustrated just hearing this, secondhand, third hand. That it's not even necessarily that he's not sure what he saw. He's waffling on whether or not he's sure about it, and that's what's driving me crazy. He's like, well, part of me is like, maybe not, and I'm not really sure, but I would stake my life on it, and there is no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, those are two different, like, you can't have those two different feelings at the same time. They're different things.
Right? One is completely convinced, and sure, and yeah, the other side of him is just like, but I'm not sure.
It's almost like grounded in reality and believing the fantastic are both happening for this guy. He's like, I think this happened to me. I don't want to believe it actually happened. And I've got people pushing me in different directions. Something happened and I'm getting pushed here and there. And now I'm taking a fucking polygraph test. And I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm being hypnotized all in like a weekend. Like, this is a simple guy. And he has to go through this whole gauntlet.
He is a simple guy. I forgot. He's a simple man. He's
with a whole missing.
This is like MUFON Double Dare he has to go through to fucking see if he's lying or not. So I don't blame him for any of that. But I don't. Rich Hall was like, he was ready. He's like,
going to hit him right between the eyes with it and see what he says.
Yeah, he's going to Johnny Lawman, going in there.
Got to do it. But ultimately, I mean, I'm glad to hear Chris say that he doesn't care what the machine says, but it's how he says it that really convinces me that he doesn't care what the machine says.
Whatever this machine says, I don't know. And don't care.
And I don't give two rats pisses on a piece of cotton, whatever results you get from this either.
I don't know what that machine is, and I'm going to talk slower.
I don't know what this doohickey says about me, but it can go fuck itself
this whole
as far
thing
as I'm concerned.
I didn't see this contraption out there with me. Yes, we can keep tagging this. This is great.
Up my butt. But yeah, so ultimately, I still feel like wanting to believe him. I feel like the MUFON guys still feel like they really want to believe him too. And look, like I said, that test, it said inconclusive. It didn't say straight out he's a liar or anything. So, well, I mean, they tie up the loose ends, if there are any at this point. They wrap it up pretty nice and neat right here.
I think this case shows that we're dealing with a real phenomena here. And it's important for folks to know this is not science fiction. This is science fact.
It's worse if you're quiet about it. And one day, everybody will know the truth. One day.
One day.
Whoa. Yeah,
and scene.
They do end it in, I guess, the best possible way they could.
Kind of optimistic.
But he's like, I know what I saw.
But do I know what I saw? I'm not sure, but I am sure.
This is science fact.
I don't know why they had to randomly put that in there. I don't know what he was referring to as far as that goes.
Just I guess that, like, all right, UFOs are real. Like, yeah, we know that.
Oh, we remember that from the beginning. They told us a few times.
Yeah, a million different ways.
We'd come out the same way we were. And normally, we would end here with this, the fantastic story, the very clippable witnesses, the failed lie detector. But there is more to this story that MUFON did not include, because Chris Bledsoe, he is still out there and continuing having experiences following the taping of this documentary. The Bledsoe family, after this came out, they became the subject of ridicule and mockery, and they went into a very negative period. Now, this came out in about 2008, pretty shortly after the event. And there was a period of 5 years that they referred to from 2007 to 2012 as the 5 years of darkness.
Whoa, like Lord of the Rings or something.
Yes.
That's wild.
I mean, they got off pretty light with 5 years, if you ask me.
I learned about this and much more from a very recent interview that Chris Bledsoe did on his son's podcast called Bledsoe Said So. So
shut up.
His son,
what a great
Ryan,
name.
his son, it's a great name. It's perfect. And his son, Ryan Bledsoe. So this is a show where we got host Ryan Bledsoe and his co-host / best friend, and they talk about the strange experiences the Bledsoes have had in their backyard. No kidding. Plus other stuff. And on episode 83, from just a week and a half ago, Chris Bledsoe, the dad, appeared for the first time to not only talk about his experiences, but to promote his brand new book called UFO of God. He has finally written a book. It has just come out. And let's hear the beginning of that interview.
Welcome to Bledsoe Said So, the meta project about the experiences of the Bledsoe family. I'm very excited because we have intentionally put this off as long as possible until the right moment, which is now, to have my dad on Bledsoe Said So. Woo! Very excited to have you in the studio.
So pumped.
And honestly, let's get into it. How you feeling?
I feel pretty good. Glad to be here.
Let's just get started. So for those who may be tuning in and are unaware, let's talk a little bit about the river, as much or as little as you're willing to go into it.
You mean from 2007?
Yep, from 2007.
I don't have to tell the story.
Oh, no, yeah, you don't have to, none at all.
Okay, well, how about this?
Not exactly shot out of a cannon is his dad, Chris Bledsoe. He's like, hey, so we're going to talk about the river. He's like, nah, we're not talking about the river. The main thing that people care about. So, Rob, as an audio guy, that noise gate is out of control, right?
It's tough to make a podcast sound good. It's not easy. There's a reason why people get paid to do it. So I understand it's not easy. And sometimes when you're learning and you start a new podcast,
I wouldn't say they're learning. They're on episode 83 and they've got like over 4,000 subscribers.
All right. So
there's a video.
They're working it out. They're working it out.
They're doing actually pretty well. I'll say that. But so. I didn't have time to, and we don't either, to hear a bunch of clips from Bledsoe Said So. Maybe we'll save that for some other time. So I'm just going to talk about some of the bombshells that his dad, Chris Bledsoe, dropped here. And so I mentioned those 5 years of darkness that the family went through after this. That darkness ended on Easter of 2012 when Chris Bledsoe was visited by an entity, a beautiful, angelic woman who, in a way, ended the sadness he had that surrounded his experiences and prompted him to change his entire demeanor. In 2012, an angel woman visits him, and now he's decided that he's going to get back out there, and he's going to start sharing his story again, speaking at conferences, meeting with experts in the field, becoming one of those guys on the UFO circuit.
Wait. He fucked an alien.
No.
Nobody said
a beautiful woman visited him.
Was just being beautiful.
It sounded like we were going down the David Huggins route. Maybe my mind just filled in some blanks there.
Your mind saw.
That's what I said. I didn't have time to get too deep into his thing, but.
Well, it sounded like it changed his life.
This did change his life. It did change his life. He is out there again, and now he is in contact with high-level NASA individuals and CIA folks, and he came out and said, straight up on this, that MUFON documentary we just talked about was a total hack job, that there was someone in MUFON made that to discredit Chris because they wanted to hide the religious and spiritual nature of his sightings, because he knows that what he is experiencing, this lady, is the mother goddess.
What?
Wow.
Yes.
The mother goddess?
The mother goddess. And that...
Well, you don't know her?
What does she have to do with this?
Well...
I have no idea.
She is the one who is very important, I guess, in all of this. And once she visited him, all the strange things started to happen that were like creepy and freaked him out. He thought were alien. It started becoming awe-inspiring, and he started getting very emotional. And he gets so emotional now that people have started to refer to him as Chris the Crier.
Aww.
So
poor guy.
He gets very emotional about this, but he wants to get back on the lecture circuit, especially after meeting this angel woman, this mother goddess. So
who he didn't have sex with.
He did not, as far as we know.
He wants to, maybe. But
maybe. He may
him.
have, actually. Who knows?
And this woman, she returns to him every Easter. The first time she met with him was on Easter of 2012. She arrives again in Easter 2013. And after this, he really didn't have interest in talking about UFOs and aliens made of glass at these conferences, which the attendees of these conferences did not appreciate, as you're going to hear.
I was so excited about what had happened with the lady. They wanted me to talk about what happened on the river, right? And I was so tired of telling that.
Right,
and it brought back so much trauma.
Of course.
And I had just met a week or so, 2 weeks before, this beautiful, glowing woman from from heaven or wherever she's from.
Mm-hmm.
And she changed my whole life. It made me a different person, and I wanted to talk about her, and they didn't want to hear it, so they started heckling me and
the crowd, and I was there. What was it, 50 to 70 people?
70 people.
Literally were shouting at him, like, we want to hear about the river. We don't care about that.
That's just toxic.
That's why I always make the joke, Bledsoe, say the line. Like we've had that.
That was happening. So I immediately pulled into a shell, started crying.
In front of the crowd.
People. And
I'm sitting there in horror.
Out of my mouth came two things.
Buddy.
That is brutal. I feel so much for this guy. I can't imagine a UFO conference crowd going, we don't care about that angel. Tell us about the aliens.
Riled
That
up.
is so sad. I mean,
man.
I know that he went to. Wait, is this the same? Wait, was this? What year was this? I'm trying to remember.
This was probably
I saw
around
that he was still
2000.
going
This
back
was
to it.
after the woman, so 2013, 14, around that time.
Okay, because I saw just recently that he is going to be there again, or he was just there for 2022.
Yes,
The
yes,
last UFO
he's still on the circuit. And look, that's the last
He's
clip.
still willing to cry.
He came back after that.
No, he's still out
coming
there.
back
Oh,
over to-
well, hold on.
So
I've got a little
brave.
more because and also that's the last clip from Bledsoe Said So. I did go back to episode 0 of the show, and I just found this little gem, and I'm just gonna play it now.
These aliens didn't stick rods inside my dad's body. You know what I mean?
All right, sorry, they mentioned rods going in his dad, so
These aliens didn't stick rods inside my dad's body. You know what I mean?
he sounds like Shaggy in there
no
too. Like,
rods in
oh,
my
so
dad.
they're sticking rods in him.
Sounds like Shaggy. That's what you meant by he sounds like Shaggy? I thought you meant he sound like, but they got me on the counter. It wasn't me.
That's
I thought
not
you meant
the
like
Shaggy
that
I
Shaggy.
identify. No,
I
of
was
course.
like, how is this kid going to sound like Shaggy? I was waiting
It
for this
wasn't me.
moment, but it's a different Shaggy.
I guess I'm making
It's
boomer
Scooby.
references again. It's way over
Shaggy
here.
is
No, look, my
Scooby.
mind went straight for Scooby Doo. It did not go towards it because I fucking hate that song.
You
it's so
hate
fucking
that song?
because it's scummy.
It's scummy.
Yeah,
Oh
it's all
my
about
God.
fucking glorifying cheaters. What are you talking about?
No, she caught him though.
Yeah, but he's like, but you just if you want to be a real player, you have to like deny it and be like, nope, wasn't me. And they're like glorifying, like, oh yeah, I totally like have these other side chicks, and you gotta do it better. You have to learn like the master to trick these girls more.
All
Is
the
that what
time
he's
she
getting
was
up to?
standing
I'm
there.
calling this clip Shaggy Rods. Do I need to change it?
Shaggy
These aliens
rods.
didn't stick rods inside my dad's body. You know what I mean?
It does sound like he does sound like Shag. He does sound like Shag.
He did kind of.
Let's get back to Chris Bledsoe, because another interesting aspect of this case is that in 2014, almost a miracle happened. A tree on their property spontaneously combusted and just burned for no apparent reason. I believe I sent you guys a video. Maybe I'll have to post it. And then later, after this tree, the fire went out, the tree came back to life. And other fantastic things have happened. I think they've mentioned that Chris was cured of Crohn's disease after meeting this angel lady, and that he was even given premonitions from this beautiful mother goddess. And one of those premonitions was about COVID about to happen in 2019. Another involved earthquakes.
Thanks for telling us.
And the disruption of an election. Exactly. Well, we just got to pay attention. All of these things
we
come
didn't
true.
listen to the angel lady
Because
everybody wanted to hear about the river.
That's right. They should have listened.
They should have listened.
Some very much believe that this mother goddess, this is the same being that spoke to the children involved in Mexico's Miracle of the Sun in 1917. He said that high-level people in ufology even believe this, and he's even been met with by our boy, Tom DeLonge. Tom DeLonge has gone out there to meet him. Tom DeLonge has looked at the tree and the different spots where the aliens were there. And as we stand now...
Wait, who did that?
You know.
Where are you?
Thanks, thank
Who
you.
are you?
I'm at Chris Bledsoe's tree. All right, I'm not doing that whole
Of
thing.
course he got out there. He had to check it out.
He's been
dude. He
out
was like,
there.
what, an alien?
Lou Elizondo is going to met with him. And as we stand now, though, his book has just been released. As Drea mentioned, he is attending UFO conferences just this last weekend. And he He claims on the show that he has thousands of videos that he has just not released to the public yet, that he has them out there. I have a theory that he's putting all this stuff together. This book is rolling out. There will be a new documentary about this guy, if it's not in production already. This only video of him you can find is from this thing from 2008, and he's already disavowed it as a MUFON hit job. So I think with all this is building up, that he's definitely got something coming out. And I'll say this, Easter is right around the corner. That lady will return, hopefully, with some new and important information that maybe we're paying attention. Maybe we see what Chris is up to. If he says what she's going to, give us some kind of thing. This is fascinating. I think this is a guy to keep an eye on. It's an evolving story for sure. You got any final thoughts, Drea Mora?
Yeah, like I said, I think that he's one of the, I want to hear more about this. It feels like there's still, even though that show wrapped it up mostly neatly, we still think that there's very real stuff going on here. Something definitely happened with this guy. I want to know more. I'm looking forward to an update.
All right, what about you, Rob? What do you think of hearing all this afterwards, after finding out that he completely disavowed the show? We put all this work into putting together an episode for.
Yeah, I don't know how that, they didn't really paint him in a bad light. He kind of is just who he is. He paints himself in the light that he's seen in this documentary TV show thing that we watched. So I don't know what his beef is with it. I don't understand what really he's got a problem with. It seemed like they represented his story pretty well. I think that his hypnosis was weak, in my opinion.
We talking about that was the best he ever saw. He was like,
that was weak, dude. That was weak. I know that dude was really excited. His buddy was really stoked about it, but
I'll show it to you.
Yeah, and he didn't really say anything about the actual abduction, what happened while he had that missing time. We still don't know anything about that. We don't even know if he saw an entity, because now he's like, maybe I didn't see an entity. I don't even know.
Well, he thinks that what he saw was an early version of the later goddess that he saw, that it was an angelic experience. He said he was trying to say, no, what would I remember, he says in the show, it does come through, he says, they're my guardians. They've been watching me forever. When I get sad, they come to me, and I get sad a lot.
Don't make me cry.
I'm crying on stage.
Then you would think that maybe they were trying to make him cry so that the angel
we want to
up.
see that angel. Throw something at him.
I can't help but think that it's crescent.
You're imagining crescent.
It feels crescent, like it's really stepping up one singular larger.
She got a better costume, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. And it does feel like she changed. I've heard the way this man's voice sounds when he talks about this.
Huggins.
It reminds me of Huggins. This man is in love. And I've heard this before. I've heard these symptoms in this man's voice.
Symptoms.
I think we know what's going on here, and I think we know what he's experienced. He's
beating
around the bush.
He's too shy to say that he's fucking her?
Yeah. I think he's beating around the bush a little bit.
I'm not saying that.
Intended about beating around the burning bush or the burning tree or whatever.
Got burning bush. Oh man, Rob breaking it down. Rob getting to the bottom of it with a fresh brain on it. I love that. And look, I want to bring up something you brought up earlier. You were like, well, what would be the end game? You can't make anything out of this. I think we're actually seeing that now. His son's got this podcast. He's got his dad on. The book is coming out. And I will say, Ryan Bledsoe has got a good following on Twitter. The book seems to be doing well. People are very excited about it. Big names in ufology respect this guy, like this guy. And like I said, I'm on the fence. I have not read the book. This is all, besides what this actual show and documentary was, which is so old at this point, I thought there would be no real follow-up to it like a lot of these are. There's a big follow-up to it. There's a lot going on. I find it interesting. And
I appreciated the show itself. I thought that the production of the show, it was almost underproduced, which is refreshing for because usually these sort of things are over. They try to make them have all these transitional sounds and all sound effects.
Oh, we didn't even get into the whole animations thing. So.
Yeah. They spent an hour recreating an animation that was really not improve? It just looked like
and
a
what did that prove?
GIF,
what the
basically.
Fuck does that prove, right?
It proved nothing. It was just this is what I saw, and there's now look, move the light over to the left
we paid for the software. We're going to use it. Gosh darn it.
That was an entire element of this. We didn't mention it all, but I want to too, because I'm glad that you brought this up. Yes, that they try to recreate all of the balls of light going into certain formations. And Chris Bledsoe sitting there like Spielberg or Lucas getting up going, well, actually, this ball came this way and this one went this way. And the guy who made the thing is looking at him going All right. Does it matter? Who cares? What's this for? This doesn't prove anything.
Welcome to what it's like being a graphic
You could just draw this. Yeah. Chris is just like, well, I got these guys will just do this. So like, you know how much work it takes to change this little.
And then they're like
pointless scenes.
This is a recreation of what he saw that night. Like they do it all dramatic. You're like, yeah, we know. He just explained to us what it looks like.
And therefore, because he was able to criticize it and tell us like specific details that were different, that means it's a lot of credibility, you know? Like anybody could just be like, no, the green was darker.
Oh, that was the filler. That's like in the beginning where they're like, UFOs are real, but we don't know what they are. By the way, also UFOs are very real, but we're not sure what they are.
I appreciated the bareness of it. It didn't feel like, it felt like it was a little underproduced, which was refreshing.
It looked like Unsolved Mysteries
refreshing.
Effects, basically, where it was good, but it wasn't total dog shit, but it was like, all right, it didn't look that hard.
It was entertaining for sure.
It's a fun show to watch.
I love a new UFO experience story, and this is a new one.
This is an
very
evolving
similar
one. A lot going on with it. It's become angelic realm. There's a lot going on. He is out there.
Got stuff
His son's
going
got a podcast. Bledsoe Said So with the great name. We've got some great clips for him. Of course. Oh, wait. He's on my Rod soundboard now with...
These aliens didn't stick rods inside my dad's body. You know what I mean?
They may have.
No one said they did, but now I'm thinking they might have. We already mentioned the butt earlier. All right, that's it. We're going to get out of here. So be sure and answer this week's poll. Who do you want to visit you on Easter? And the choices will be the Mother Goddess, the Easter Bunny, the Glass Alien. I don't know,
or
us maybe?
Jesus, maybe?
Jesus or other. Just go to unbelieverspodcast.com to vote, and let's go.
You better pray to the Lord when you see those flying saucers. It may be the coming of the judgment day. It's a sign, there's no doubt, of the trouble that's about. So I say, my friends, you'd better start to pray. They're a terrifying sight as they fly on day and night. It's a warning that we'd better mend our ways. You'd better pray to the Lord when you see those flying saucers. It may be the coming of the judgment day.
Yeah, man. Chris Bledsoe and the Fayetteville Incident.
I thought that was the band.
No. Yes,
that sounds like a dope band, actually.
Right? And the Fayetteville
Incident. Yeah, that does actually sound like a cool band.
Kind of got the Fayetteville Incident.
That was the basis of the Fayetteville Incident. Yeah, I could hear that line being said in the bar. But man, this whole story, I got to say, going into this, I had really just kind of come across this MUFON documentary. Kind of felt fun. I don't feel we've never seen a show that just focused it on MUFON doing stuff. Like they pop up in things, but this was like a MUFON joint, and that's what got me into this. And I just was kind of compelled by the Fayetteville story. I had no idea that this had gone, that his whole life had completely changed after this. He's had so much going on. He's seeing goddesses every Easter. He's got a fiery tree in his yard. He's seeing and filming things all the time. It's a compelling story, and the story's just getting out there too. So I don't know.
Yeah, I like that. It's a currently evolving story right now that makes it pretty damn exciting. Because like I said, I want to believe him. I want this shit to be real.
Yeah, and his son's got a show. Yeah. Bledsoe Said So. His son is just the whole story. His whole podcast is just based off of Bledsoe family stuff, and maybe you'll get to hear him say stuff like,
"These aliens didn't stick rods inside my dad's body." You know what I mean?
And there's so much going on with this story, but no rods. Rods we can eliminate from the story immediately.
Thank goodness.
Thank God there's another podcast out there to talk about UFOs, because there's just not enough.
I say my own podcast feed on my phone is getting so ridiculous. It's like Paranormal Gumbo, Bledsoe Said So. It's out of control. It's
You've done this to yourself. You need to create a whole separate account for just this research kind of, segment.
I'm in.
Because otherwise,
I'm all
you're never
in.
gonna. Yeah, your algorithm's fucked.
Once you start dipping into that, then you're just like it consumes you. You become a UFO guy.
You get
Vrillock's podcast, of course. PP Warren's. They're all. Someone's got to keep an eye on these guys, and that's what I'm trying to do. So yes, they will definitely stay at my feed. I'll keep my eye on them, of course. But I don't know. Let's do it. I feel like we went a little long with this, and I just want to get into what is it, Drea? What's it called?
I don't know what we're going into.
Yes, this week's poll. What 90s celebrity would you want to hunt skinwalkers with? And the choices were Arnold Schwarzenegger, Matthew Lillard, Brendan Fraser, and Chris Farley. I'm going to go to you, Drea. What do you think the Unbelievers said?
I'm surprised you didn't just make this all other people just pick their own. I really don't know what people like. Chris Farley, I guess.
Chris Farley. What about you, Rob?
What was the first choice?
I think it was Arnold, Matthew Lillard, Chris Farley.
Arnold.
You think Arnold Schwarzenegger? Unbelievers want him because he's like jacked up like Dogman, all that.
Yeah.
He'd be great. Well, well, sorry to both of you. Brendan Fraser with a whopping 11%. Everyone, of 90s Brendan Fraser.
Tarzan or
Encino Man.
No, not Tarzan. What was he?
The Mummy.
Man.
He was
George of the Jungle.
He was also George of the Jungle. Yeah,
sure. He was in lots of shirtless roles. And if you want a shirtless guy out there to hunt skinwalkers with, I'm assuming. But of course, there are others. What 90s celebrity would you hunt skinwalkers with? Fairuza Balk and or Christina Ricci, who walked so that Violet Monroe could run.
Oh, boy.
Corrupted Mask. That's pretty good. Thank you, Corrupted Mask. There's no clip for that.
He's just horny.
Violet Monroe getting a reference in there. What 90s celebrity would you hunt skinwalkers with? My old dad was a 90s star, America's Most Wanted. Signed Scared of My Dad guy. Yeah, pretty good. So you're going to go hunt skinwalkers with him? Go ahead. Thank you, Scared of My Dad guy. What 90s celebrity would you hunt skinwalkers with? All the American Gladiators. Obviously, I would feel protected and secure, and afterwards, we could have an orgy. Signed, Deb from Accounting. Oh, all right.
Ooh, all right, Deb.
Go ahead, Deb from
Accounting.
Accounting.
Orgy with all of the
I mean, like,
gladiators.
look, if other people get to be horny on here, so does Deb.
Can she handle that? All of those gladiators?
Even Laser?
Hey, man.
We'll
Maybe
see.
she's working on her Kegels. I think she could do it.
Good for you, girl.
What 90s celebrity would you hunt skinwalkers with? Skeet Ulrich, simply because his name reminds me of something hot and gooey. Eternally yours, Dudu Bin Laden. Oh, thank you, Dudu Bin Laden.
Hey, Dudu Bin Laden.
Okay, so I could tell he wants hot gooey.
It was so English, så var så hot gooey, but Ibn havde kendt button love elementars.
Man, I forgot about Button Love and Skeet Ulrich bringing it back. Thank you, Dudu Bin Laden.
I'm pretty sure he's alluding to...
We went to this room. There was this bowl on this table, and I was supposed to ejaculate into the bowl.
Skeet.
Certainly.
That too. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Shaggy, Skeet.
Well, he was.
Hip-hop Rob tonight. What 90s celebrity would you want to hunt skinwalkers with? Travis Barker, drummer of Blink-182, specifically to make DeLong jealous.
He was not a 90s celebrity.
Nothing against Tom.
Disqualified.
Just think it would be funny. Signed,
Yeah, I guess it
Unbeliever
wasn't a celebrity
Maxwell.
yet.
Travis Barker, he was known in the Blink-182 was big in the 90s. Come on.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say I don't know
He's not
about
a celebrity,
though. Like, would people have? That's what I'm saying. Like, they were a band in the '90s.
We don't have to disqualify the others.
Yet.
I mean,
okay. But yes.
Not disqualifying. I'm
okay.
just commenting.
Technically, he wasn't even in the band, I don't believe, in the early 90s. He came into the band in 2000 when they were
right. So
they were from
wait.
Poway,
So
by
are
the
you
way,
saying Tom
which I lived
DeLonge
in
would have been
for-
looking around saying,
yeah.
That's probably what we would
That's
do.
what we're all saying.
Thank you, Unbeliever
Poway
Maxwell. What 90s celebrity would you hunt skinwalkers with? Without a doubt, Pauly Shore. He'd be all, hey, buddy, with the skinwalkers and buy me enough time to escape. Signed, Taylor.
Yeah, and he can help you get the juice from the aliens.
He would help you wheeze the juice, of course. He would do
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, wheeze it.
That's not a bad one. Okay.
It's pretty good.
It actually is pretty good. I'm so thankful Pauly Shore has not ended up on a paranormal show. Maybe we need to look into that.
I mean, yet.
Pauly Shore has definitely been on a paranormal show. We will find it. Thank you,
He's
Taylor.
probably sure his family owns the Comedy Cellar, so he's connected.
Oh, yeah, sure. Mitzi Shore. We could, there is that called, we almost did a whole episode on that. We'll have to see if he turns up on that. Thanks for reminding me about that. A lot of people see ghosts in the Comedy Store. Thank you, Taylor. All right. What 90s celebrity would you hunt skinwalkers with? Hey, you guys. Hey, you guys. I'm bringing sloth, kicking ass, eating rocky road. Signed Hose B.
That is an excellent answer.
All
That's
right. What 90s celebrity? Sloth is Texas. No, he's 80s. He's not. All right, whatever.
I mean,
we still cared about him in the 90s. What 90s celebrity did you hunt skinwalkers with? Mel C from Spice Girls, signed Mike Dack. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, she's Scary Spice. She's like ready for this shit.
You have to pick a Spice Girl. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, no, is that Scary Spice?
That's Scary
is that the
Spice,
same?
yeah.
That is scary. So yeah, there you go. What's scarier than scary?
Why do I know this?
Skinwalkers. What 90s celebrity did you hunt skinwalkers with? Roseanne Barr, unless she farted and it sounded like a big old fat lady fart. I'd be like, what happened? Signed Dick Lycan. Remember Dick Lycan?
Oh, I thought for sure that was going to be Carol.
No. Well, what happened? Yeah, that's like copyright Carol, but nope, Dick Lycan.
I think it was
a big fat lady fart.
And then, of course, he would just be like...
How do I not remember that that's one of our things?
It's in there. There's a lot. We have got
That was
so
a while
many.
ago, though, right? That was like 2 seasons ago.
I know. You're out here like...
It's never really left poll results.
What happened? I don't know.
Thank you, Dick Lycan.
She's like, that was... She's like,
I even think there is a clip that is the name Dick Lycan. That is definitely from a Patreon episode. That was like a news reporter guy. Yes, I remember that. Look, you look for that. All right. What 90s celebrity would you want to hunt skinwalkers with? Rod Champion, Click Commander. It's a mutual respect that goes on in that department between us. Rus Ryan, host quotes. Thank you, host quotes, for that. That one, that great one there. I think we have the Click Commander at least. I don't know if we have a Rod Champion one. Come on.
I am the Clit Commander.
Thank you, host quotes. Hey, I got on host quotes. I barely get on host quotes. I'll take it.
Finally, you made it.
Finally.
Congratulations.
Welcome aboard.
You're in the lead. What 90s celebrity would you hunt skinwalkers with? His name is Jeff Goldblum. Signed Voodoo.
Nice.
Whoa.
My name is Jeff.
Yes, thank you, Voodoo. What 90s celebrity would you hunt skinwalkers with? That little scamp, Culkin boy. Hee hee. Signed M. Jackson. Oh no.
I mean, they like to hang out.
Oh, man.
A little scamp.
Little scamp.
I think Kathleen Roberts has infiltrated our poll results. Or thank you, M. Jackson. I don't know what help Macaulay Culkin would. Well, I mean,
he might be pretty fun to hang out with and hunt ghosts. Oh, this is for skinwalkers.
Skinwalkers. He's a pretty dangerous kid.
He could probably catch them. He could set traps and stuff. He's good at that.
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. He's got all kinds of Christmas ornaments.
He's way more useful than Jamie Kennedy. What 90s celebrity would you hunt skinwalkers with? Someone to sniff my ass, suck my farts, turn around, and give me a pedigree. Maybe a woman. Signed Whooping Hooper. What the hell?
That's great.
Thank you. The Evil Nate making his poll result debut, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the first time.
Sniff my ass, suck my farts, turn me around and give me a pedigree.
God, what was the other one?
It's just Whooping Hooper. He said maybe a woman. This is Whooping Hooper.
Oh, woman. Oh, the woman one.
Whooping Hooper coming in with some Evil Nate. Shout out to
Maybe a woman. No, I don't.
That's
maybe a woman. No, I don't
totally forgot about that one too.
Great callback to Finding Bigfoot. Thank you to the...
That was the Dungarvan Hooper. That was hooping.
And finally, what 90s celebrity would you hunt skinwalkers with? If corn and tobacco could summon Freddie Prinze Jr., I'd get out my big boy pants and credit card right now. Signed Mothman Father. All right.
Okay.
I like that. Come on, big boy pants.
He wants the big boy pants and the credit card.
For
Okay,
Mothman Father. Yeah. I mean, Freddie Prinze Jr., that's a good choice. Hey, we already had Shaggy discussed tonight. This is basically Fred.
Bring your big boy pants and your credit card.
Ooh, so many good ones tonight. I'll go first. I will say I really liked. I like Taylor. He had without a doubt Pauly Shore. He'd be all, "Hey, buddy," with a skinwalker and buy me enough time to escape. I like sacrificing Pauly Shore for that. A lot of these you wouldn't want to sacrifice. I don't know which one did you like, Drea.
I mean, I loved Hose Bees with Hey You Guys, but I think you are right about the 80s part. I didn't look it up. I vote for Scared of My Dad guy. That shit cracked me up.
Scared of My Dad guy, yeah, definitely came in big with My Old Dad Was a 90 Star, America's Most Wanted. That's a pretty good one. I mean, Corrupted Mass, I kind of like this too with Feroza Balk and or Christina Ricci, who walked so that Violet Monroe could run, always getting his Violet Monroe references in. But you liked Hose B. He had, hey, you guys, I'm bringing sloth, kicking ass, eating Rocky Road. That's a pretty good one.
Oh, by the way, I was just saying I disagree with the idea that in the comment, not I disagree with your pick.
Exactly. Well, I haven't picked you. What about you, Rob?
I just had it on the top of my.
Was it? My name is.
I like
Jeff
the one who
Goldblum.
said that. I did like the one who said.
Jeff Goldblum. Yeah,
Goldblum. That was very good. But I also like the one who said Roseanne because I do think Roseanne would be fun to go hunt skinwalkers with. Like I think she actually would. And
she would give up and just walk back to the camper or whatever. She's like, I've had enough of this. I'm gonna go back to.
Yeah, that would be kind of funny. I don't know. I feel like that would be fun, but no, you're right. The Jeff one was very good. The Jeff Goldblum, because he is a 90s star.
I liked
and
the
I feel like that's
tie-in,
very creative. That's smart. Who was that?
That was Voodoo. All right. We all like.
I'm going Voodoo.
Yeah, I liked a lot of them. Sorry, Rus Ryan quotes, host quotes, Rod Champion, Click Commander. It's a mutual respect that goes on to that department between us. But, congratulations with, his name is Jeff Goldblum. Voodoo. Congratulations. You just won this week's poll results. All right. Well, we're at the end of the program, but before we go, Drea, do you have anything you'd like to say or plug?
No, just the usual Spirits and Spirits pod. Snacking with Jack just put out a new episode. And, I'm on Instagram. I always forget my Instagram handle.
At Best Drea Mora. Check it out. Check out Snacking with Jack, the recent episode. I was on there. That was a lot of fun. What about you, Rob?
Just check out my Instagram at Rob Okey, at Okey Audio. Besides that, check out our Patreon.
Hell yeah. Check out the Patreon. We've got another fun video bonus episode out there. We're going to be posting our live streams that we've done recently. We did a live stream just a couple days ago. YouTube kind of spanked us for it, but then they apologized to us.
But we liked it.
We forgive you, YouTube, and then we're all good now. Everything's fine. And yeah, so go subscribe to us on YouTube. I want a few more YouTube followers. If we can get to a certain number, we're very close to, we can actually do polls on YouTube, and it might resolve our very badly broken website in its poll results, but we'll see about that. But go follow us on YouTube. That's my plug for this week. And the Unbelievers podcast host today were Drea Mora and me, Rus Ryan. Our producer and soundboard engineer is Rob Okey. You join our Patreon by going to patreon.com/unbelieverspodcast. You can follow the show on Twitter at UnbelieversPod and Instagram at Unbelievers Podcast. And our Facebook group is the Unbelievable Podcast Network. We have a merch store. It's TeePublic. There's a link in the description. Always cool stuff there. Our music advisor is Pandora3373. Our official composer and theme song creator is Unbeliever Aaron, aka Aaron Shilb. Follow him on Instagram at the Aaron Shilb. Our official graphic designer and card maker who designed our logo is Raymond Rowell. Check out his work at P Raven Creative on Twitter and Project Raven Creative on Instagram. Our official guardian of the bench is at Kraken Stacker. Our official alien bopper is Nunchuck Bob. And from Patreon, our official Big Island Paranormal Friendly Weatherman is Green Finhawk. Our official procrastinator is Jeffrey Hartneriff. Our official Baby Yoda publicist is Pam Z. Our official Unbeliever listening between the stations for a message from Art Bell is Scott E. Our official Unbelievers raising puck wedgies is Joe Filler. Our official Madman is Unbeliever Adam. Our official Unbelievers time traveler is Taylor Nelson. Our official snack is Jack S. Our official ghost hunter is Amelia Childs and ghost hunting in New England and Huey Halloween. Our official senior European correspondent is Kay Mill of the I Don't Know podcast. Our official paranormal art curator is Isis Haynes. New one on the credits there. There you go. Our official Unbeliever in need of titles are Mike Henry, Todd X, Lid Vicious, Sandra, Deborah Falls, Ramiro, Trash Baby, Adam Dworak, Wombat Preservationist. And this week's Unbeliever focus is Warren G. Moten, who claims to have perfected, one of those AI chatbots that you see sometimes, but one of me. And look, I think it's going to need some work because it's saying some pretty upsetting things. And I don't think, I would never think to utter these things. And my response to this horror is...
Whatever this machine says, I don't know. And don't care.
All right, good night. Tell him, Drea.
Bledsoe said so.